Okay, okay. This time people are gonna get mad. The title of this video is called Tensura fell off ... Apparently, oh boy. Let's see what Mr. Mizeri has to say.
From the conception of the internet, we as the slightly people on the internet are brain dead.
Yep.
This is more or less common knowledge. From the conception of the internet, we as the slightly intelligent monkeys we are have all begun to start to develop this dependency to it. Our interests are—
The amount of fucking... Wait, it's not even Subway Surfer. I don't even recognize these games, but you know, in TikTok, you just have all these fucking different things going on to grab your attention.
To it. Our interests, our patience, our temper, they are all affected by what—
Reading Oshinoko chapter 143. Is that where Ruby starts winning?
We consume daily. So when fast-paced short-form content has begun to rise and start to dominate a majority of our lives, people start saying things like this.
Skibbity Riz. Oh, Jujutsu Kaisen 0. The real MC versus Ghetto.
Eh, 0 out of 10. Too much yapping.
I keep seeing this take about how season—
There was no yapping! That was all action! But, you know, yeah, that is a take being given for season 3 right now for Tensura, right?
3 of Tensura is going way too slow and there's been way too many meetings, and it got me interested because—
I agree. No, genuinely. I think that the amount of time being put into these meetings is fucking egregious to the point that you're losing the attention span of everybody. This is not TikTok brain rot. This is not people having ADHD. You give motherfuckers 5 episodes of just yapping when you've been primed them with 2 seasons of hype content. I understand that there's yapping in season 2. I understand that talking and diplomacy and world building is the focal core of Tensura. That makes the action more hype. But don't you think that season 3, they could have paced it better and really condensed or removed some of the unnecessary yapping to make sure that you have a halfway point of satisfying the monkey audience that can't handle fucking 5 back-to-back episodes of yapping, and those, you know, who actually say that this is like the best content ever because there's so much yapping. Like, I think fucking both the light novel elite is saying like, oh, you can't fucking enjoy this because there's no fight scenes. Nah, that's fucking stupid. You know that these episodes are boring. Like, the yapping, sometimes they are engaging, but is it really the most interesting content? I don't think so.
To me, that was the entertaining part. But I guess I can see where people are coming from. People came in with the expectations that this season was going to be super battle heavy for whatever reason. And
yeah, because season 1 and season 2 was super hype, right? There was little to no yapping compared to season 3. Before Walpurgis in season 2, there was a sequence of events, like sequence of episodes for sure, right? Around that outside garden talking, yes, the yapping was there. But if you really take a look at the content in season 1 and season 2, it was pretty well paced compared to season 3. And now in season 3, Tensura is actually showing us real colors. And what is this real colors? It's focused on the dialogue, the world building, the diplomacy, politics, establishing trade routes, what this means for potential different nations, competition arises, all a bunch of that shit. Finding new, you know, members, like even different factions like the Roto family and the Western Church that I never knew about. The dialogue was very engaging to me. I can appreciate that, but I can also understand that the audience that watched Tensura season 1 and 2, of course they're going to see season 3 and they're going to be like, this is not what I signed up for. I totally get that.
And considering how many more shows we're getting where throwing hands is the primary objective, I'm not that surprised. But it is sort of weird to me considering that Tensura as a series very clearly tells you what it's going to be like from the start.
Yes, but season 1 and season 2 was not this yap heavy compared to season 3. There are episodes where they do a lot of dialogue, but there was also a lot of really fast-paced action scenes going on with a lot of hype. That's why people got baited.
In fact, it's a big part of Tensura's identity. Tensura is a city-building anime just as much as it is power fantasy. If anything, the city-building aspect of it is probably what makes it feel so much more enticing.
Yes, the power fantasy is that much greater because of all the build-up and explanation and other people knowing how great, like, these demon lords are, or even who Veldor is, right? If you don't have the lore build-up and people appreciating these things, then the power fantasy can't really happen, right?
Seen that other shows with similar concepts. The story of how a slime took a random bum-ass goblin village from being on the verge of collapse—
Hey, Gopta, you don't need to do Gopta that dirty—
to an economical center in its own world is a great way to show progression creatively. You get to look back and see a physical difference in the nation's war assets, the alliances and connections they've gained, as well as the physical advancement of the city itself. For people to call it the very thing that makes this show have any identity, the boring part, is kinda crazy, no?
No. Because like season 1 and season 2, I agree that those core principles were there. But if you look at the amount of yapping that season 3 is doing compared to season 2 and season 1, how are you not surprised that people aren't mad? Those average common viewers that probably honestly just like, they probably forgot about the yapping, right? They probably even skipped through it or were like, this is just boring, more the next part, right? That audience did not realize how dialogue intensive it's gonna be. And like the dialogue of some of those yapping scenes aren't even engaging. I think again, the church shit, Eastern Merchants, Rotso, anytime they showed up, that was very engaging. But then there was an entire episode where they were literally dealing with how to fucking create a safe walking passage with having these goddamn circular rock technology that creates fucking barriers so that people can't fuck it up. That's not the most exciting content. If you really look at season 2 and season 1, and then compared to season 3, there should be no surprise as to why people are upset about the pacing of season 3.
And the only reason I can come up with for any of this is that so many people are being fed brain rot that we're...
Well, I think that with the advent of TikTok and like, when does season 2 air? Fucking... TikTok was already out by then, but obviously, you know, as time goes by, years go on, like, people's attention spans maybe have reduced, but like, if your amazing series that is so like well written, if you cannot engage those brain rotted people, then can you really say that it's good content, right? Why are people so lack of attention right now? Well, you could say that TikTok and all these other short form content that's, you know, creating people to get immediate dopamine hits, they can't focus on anything anymore. But at the same time, I feel like just because it's yapping doesn't mean it should be boring. There's plenty of animes like Classroom Elites where the yapping is fucking engaging and I'm fucking locked in and nobody fucking complains except the light novel readers. But right now it's a difference where the anime onlys are the ones that's like, fuck, this shit's boring. What the light novels are like, nah, you just don't have the attention span. You're a dumb monkey that only enjoys battle scenes. I don't think that's really the case.
We're getting to the point that we're choking on it.
I black out before I tap out, bitch.
Hi, darling.
What the fuck is going on?
With the amount of brain rot out there, what else would you expect? Of course they wouldn't be able to handle some itty bitty dialogue, but we can't just blame everything on TikTok.
You sure about that?
So instead of shifting the blame like we're Logan Paul, how about we actually take a second and use our brains? We gotta be intelligent monkeys and all, remember? And in our quest to use our little monkey brains, we gotta get into the details. What makes exposition important, so to speak? And the thing is, most people seem to misunderstand the word exposition. When people see that word, the first thing that comes to mind is yap. And on the
what is exposition? I think exposition... fuck, this is like grade 9 high school English poetry fucking termination. But exposition is basically the explanation of the lore. All this different thing, they're breaking it down. Who are these characters? What's the setting in? You know, breaking down and explaining the material at hand, I think, is exposition.
On the other hand, whenever someone uses that word, they're usually just trying to deflect the fact that the show they're trying to defend has a master's in yapology. Let me give you an example.
What was that? Who is this model? Is this guy's model? I'm not really sure of the reference here.
Let me give you an example. This is good dialogue.
And that means no one here is my enemy.
Okay. Vinland Saga.
Because I have no enemies.
Okay. Great scene.
And this is yapping.
Drop the Krispy Kreme, Serpico! We need your help here!
My house look like my father and my brother after 9 months or something.
That is genuine yapping, right? Yeah, I honestly fucking hate the word yapping. And honestly, like, yapping and like the new word is fucking unk. The coolest thing is to call people just unk, right? Whenever people start talking, people are like, oh, you're just yapping. It just turns into this fucking buzzword that people use to, I don't know, say. I love it when people come into reaction or commentary channels and say, you yap too much. Why is the yapping? But motherfucker, the entire point of the content is the yapping. The yapping is the content. Why are you surprised? You went into a yapping store and now you're saying, what the fuck are you yapping for? But I think that, like, obviously, yapping, even though it's like a buzzword, it's just unnecessary, just word vomit, which is most of the times what I do, right? It's not getting to the point. You're not explaining some plot shit in a concise manner. It's just like, you're just talking. You're talking excessively and you're wasting time.
You're
That was the sound effects there at the end.
There's a difference between pointless, excessive dialogue that isn't valuable or at the bare minimum entertaining, and meetings that build.
I think that there is a lot of pointless fucking dialogue that anime onlys don't actually have to listen to in Slime to fully understand the story. For example, that one specific example on the fucking road with the circular rock tablet thing with the magic to cast a barrier so that safe travel can be, that is not an important point. I'm sorry. Maybe in the future that's gonna come so important it's gonna be like our last defensive mechanism against like an invasion against the different enemies. But like there is some shit where it's just like you really did not need to go do a fucking almost near one-to-one direct translation. There's gotta be a better way to pace this shit to keep the audience engaged.
The setting and establish tangible relations between entities. And hey, if that's not your cup of tea, that's all good. You can go watch the presidential debate. I'm sure that'll keep you laughing.
Eligible for what I've been able to do with.
Simple things like the whole Hinata ramen scene and the scene.
I love that scene. The Hinata ramen scene. This is just like slice of life fan service for me because like I give a fuck about Hinata and seeing this different side of her enjoying ramen. This cool, collected, calm girl just gushing over ramen and gyoza and getting competitive over food. It adds more different sides to her character that I could relate to and it was funny. I enjoyed that.
And the scene with Geld and Reamer speaks so much volume of their characters that was otherwise lacking. Sure. Wouldn't getting more familiar with the characters that are overshadowed be a positive thing? Yeah. Excluding the politics, there are plenty of scenes this season that
no one, I don't think, is complaining about the fucking ramen scene with Hinata, though. Was there anyone complaining? I think that all the complaints is from the excessive dialogue regarding the diplomacy and the politics that I don't think needs to be that in-depth for the anime onlys to enjoy. Again, there needs to be like a compromise that can be hit where you can meet halfway and keep the fucking anime-only monkeys engaged and keep the light novel neckbeards happy.
Made characters just that much more rounded. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, but Tensura kinda sorta doesn't have the best character writing. It's not bad, but Reamer is not going around dropping quotes like, I have no enemies.
Doesn't he need to? Rimuru honestly doesn't deserve any of this shit, bro. Hot take. Rimuru is the most overhyped isekai main character who deserves none of this shit. Everything he does is just magically gifted to him, and he's already so OP and he doesn't struggle at all. And that's some of the talking points that I hear about Tensura. There's a lot of people that are like, yo, Rimuru low-key fucking sucks. Like, what has he done to earn anything? He was already fucking busted with all the fucking passives that he got born with. And then the Veldra fucking contract and shit. I don't know. I read some of that talking points and I'm like, hold up. It's kind of based.
The characters are just about par for what you expect. But even still, it just adds a layer of foundation that the story can build on. Someone like Diablo, who was just introduced as nothing more than another Reamer sim to add to the list, was given so much more spotlight this season.
Yeah.
Within these episodes, he's shown.
But no one complained about these Diablo moments. These Diablo moments were the one thing that kept the anime-only monkeys from fucking dropping the show, in my opinion.
How cynical and intelligent he is. He goes from just being another Reamer simp to a reliable individual who just so happens to pitch a tent whenever he gets his hands on that Reamer.
Pitch a tent. That demon dick.
Bathwater. What makes a story like Tensura entertaining and memorable is a climactic ending, built up by a bunch of different ideas, emotions, plots, and characters. If Hinata and Rimuru fought in episode 2 or 3 like everyone wanted, or even if this entire conflict was stretched out and started earlier, it would have felt bland, boring, pointless, just straight garbage.
I love the church build-up. I did love the church build-up. And in fact, season 2 already was a lot of build-up for Hinata and Rimuru in the beginning with the beauty mixer move, sequence. But I think that there are some earlier episodes where you really didn't need to spend that much fucking time. I don't know. I get what he's saying, right? If you skip the foreplay, then what is the point of the nut? You're rushing to the end, but the end won't even be good because you rushed it. But this road that we're walking to the end right now in Tensura season 3, this road I feel is way too fucking long and it could be way more concise and condensed. That is a complaint.
But as much as I hate to say this, I'm gonna have to pull out the anime fan special. Changing my opinion.
Okay, here we go.
Well,
playing
really,
both sides.
As much as I want to glaze this series, I've gotta say the anime adaptation sometimes really feels like a slideshow. Colored manga, What I think really puts people off about all these meetings is just how it was adapted. Because in the manga...
How it was adapted. Again, just because it's meetings and we're just talking doesn't mean that it needs to be boring, right? For example, Classroom Elite, that's all just talking, but it's engaging. Kaguya-sama, the way that they handle the dynamic visuals makes all the yapping fun. In Tensura, on the first half of season 3, like, it was literally a PowerPoint presentation sometimes. They're doing a shitload of exposition with little to no, I don't know, engaging visuals that keeps the people locked in. I've noticed that second half of season 3 though, because, you know, Mahoka is finally gone and 8-Bit Studios has a little bit extra fucking money now, I guess. I don't know. They decided to, you know, animate the scenes where I think Mjolnir was talking about the different Colosseums and they were thinking and envisioning. You could see all these different visuals, you know, forming the imagery and shit like that really did keep me entertained. But low-key, and this might be a hot take, during the church scene, I was fully locked in. This church dialogue, Roto family dialogue, those yapping scenes there, I was fucking locked in because I actually care about the story, but I could totally understand why people actually got bored of it.
In the light novel, you can read at your own pace. The visuals are more or less up to you to either fill in the gaps or just completely make up in your head. But the anime has kind of done an injustice to the series. Every meeting is just a still image after still image. Nothing on screen really captures your eye. So it tends to feel like nothing is happening except people talking back and forth. It's not that the anime did a bad job per se.
It did a mid job per se.
They just seem to do the absolute bare minimum, which in this situation kind of ruined the flow. I feel like one of the best examples of...
I agree. That example is good. You could feel the terror in Diablo's fucking, you know, carriage here with everybody just shitting their pants.
This is my least favorite part of the season so far. The big Hinata vs. Rimuru fight felt so unimportant.
Yeah. The fight itself, everybody, I think it was really hyped up. The expectations were too fucking high. And by then, a lot of people already draw. I don't know. I kind of agree, man.
Neither the fight nor the weight of the fight felt serious. Even with how everything plays out, even with all the build-up, it felt...
I enjoyed the other shit happening on the other side with Diablo and the other fucking... You know, the luminaries and shit. The ending of the fight was sick with Luminous showing up, right? The episode God Luminous, you know, fucking Demon Lord God or some shit. Like, that shit was hype. But, like, the actual fight, Hinata versus Rimuru, like, the animation was not, you know, peak. It was okay.
Like the battle had no real meaning. It felt somehow shallow after all that exposition. The lack of any sort of visual eye candy alongside how fast it ended made it seem too underwhelming.
Yes, the fight was extremely short. I felt that exact same thing too. It just felt so abrupt.
The light novel and manga treated this fight so much more seriously. The light novel had time to explain things in...
Yeah, the animation isn't bad, right? It's not bad. But it's like a 6 or 7 out of 10. And I think that this show, the series, deserves like 8 or 9 out of 10 animation. Like, you needed to fucking do some Sakuga shit. You needed to fucking min-max here. The fuck was the point of having all those fucking still frames dialogue if you're not gonna save the budget for this fucking scene?
Explain things in detail, and the manga's visuals made it entertaining. The anime felt so lifeless, except for a few points. They spent all that...
The fight in the opening looks better. True.
...time going through all that exposition just to leave one of the least climactic feeling endings in the fight. The whole fight was partially meant to show the massive difference in Rimuru and Hinata's strength, even though Hinata was now trying. But it really didn't portray that well. So it's pretty fair to say that it wasn't that there were too many meetings this season or the...
I think that there were too many meetings. And I think the meetings could have been much concise and animated better. But also the pop-offs that was supposed to be great after the meetings left the audience blue-balled and people are just mad and upset. That's what it is. Everyone's just frustrated. They got edged and they got edged and there was little to no release. There was a ruined nut and now it's just like shit. This sucks.
Content was unimportant. It was more so that it was just an unfortunately poorly done adaptation. At least for the first half. As far as I can tell, the second part of the season is going a lot better.
Is it though? Is it actually? Because like there's even more yapping right now. There's a lot of dialogue. All the fucking logistics of setting up the Colosseum, the festival stuff. I'm low-key getting sick of it. Like, Genuinely, like, are you gonna still be in the fucking labyrinth? Like, still, like, we finally got out, and now Shion, like, thank God Shion fucking did something with the Dagro brothers, but like, low key, like the episodes leading up to it, the whole setup of the labyrinth, like, sure, I was having fun trying to think about how to milk the money by, you know, having different subscription services for, you know, the fucking extra lifeline bracelet or something as soon as you die and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know, man. By now, I think I'm like one of the only few Tensura reactors on YouTube because everyone just dropped it because the audience is like, this shit's just not it.
One thing I will say though is Tensura has always slightly neglected to make these fights feel emotionally meaningful to the characters themselves, but always done a good job of making the fights have an important global impact. Definitely more than it affects the characters on a personal level. If you aren't convinced, just think back.
I'm thinking back to our vegetable moms. No, the fights definitely do have like a huge impact on like a global scale, what it means for different nations and, you know, politics and the tides of the power shifting between different nations and trade routes and economy and blah, 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 you know.
Whoa. Nope, too far back. Think back to the last season of Tensura.
Okay.
The climactic ending was that fight with Claimant.
That was
to Reaver, it was sort of a personal revenge and nothing more, but from a political standpoint, it completely rearranged the power structure of the world. Milim's domain became a super country, and Reaver's nation became a point of incredible concern. Considering how an incredibly powerful entity popped out of nowhere and is looking to take over the entire trade route, nobody could ignore that. This entire chain of events just so happened as the result of the build-up all the way from episode 1 of season 1 to the last few episodes of season 2. That was the time it took for that whole chapter of the story to end. Most of the villains and a lot of the direction Tempest took led to this. It was all cause and effect fueled by the very same exposition that people think they hate so much. Season 2 itself.
So you're telling me that season 3 is just set up and it's gonna get even better and we're all just gonna have the big payoff in season 4?
Those started with like 5.5 episodes of delegations and meetings, so clearly the meetings were not the issue.
No. These episodes, I think that a lot of people were upset about it though. No, I remember these fucking meeting episodes. That's the examples I gave, right? Not even just this, the shit that happens right before Walpurgis too. Those were the things that people were complaining about still.
So clearly the meetings were not the issue. What worries me the most about all this isn't necessarily the fact that people might not enjoy an anime whose light novel I enjoyed, but it's more so the fact that it has effects on other things. The people that make these kind of hypocritical takes on mostly baseless facts seep into internet culture and start infesting the rest. And look, I know it sounds like...
I mean, at the end of the day, everyone has their own rights to say their opinion, and if your opinion is fucking dumb, other people will call out on it. I think it's really as simple as this. I think that season 1 and season 2 Tensura, if you compare to season 3, the amount of unnecessary yapping was not the same. I think that it was very well paced and it was very action heavy. And as he said, there was a huge payoff at the end of season 2, which was started from season 1. Right now, we're getting season 3, and there's more unnecessary yapping compared to before, and we don't have a great payoff. And now we are comparing a quote-unquote setup season with a lot of unnecessary yapping relative to season 1 and season 2, compared to season 1 and season 2, which were combined a very high intense action-packed story with some dialogue, with some yapping for sure. So it's not a fair comparison, but I understand why people are gonna be mad that Tensura is quote-unquote fell off, right? They just feel like they're not getting the same experience, and they're not. Because again, season 1 and 2, it's pretty much like the end of a fucking saga. That was a huge pop-off moment. And season 3 right now, it's just starting its own fucking arc, right? It's like quote-unquote setup. And now people are saying, just wait till season 4. But what is the fucking point of saying wait till season 4 if people are going to not even get there because they see the content in season 3 and they say, shit, this ain't what I signed up for, I'm dropping. A lot of anime-only monkeys, a lot of people, right? They have an idea of what Tensura is. Season 1 and season 2 truly made it seem like the anime was not about like all these long ass fucking meetings, even though there was some, even though there was meetings and dialogue and for world building and for, you know, the payoff to be great. Comparatively to season 3, it was not the same. And I understand why people are going to be fucking upset about season 3.
Some stupid thing your teacher would say, but it really is true. I mean, we have examples in real time. Isekai has become one of the most infested and overpopulated genres of anime in the last decade.
Great.
You ever wonder why? Because
it's popular. Because Isekai is fucking... People saw the success of Isekai. So what do people do when they see success? They all want to get on it. They all copy paste and do their own isekai, and that's why there's so many shitty isekais as well.
Of anime in the last decade-ish. You ever wonder why? Because people eat the shit up like Gordon Ramsay himself cooked it up. In reality, it's just some dude from Kitchen Nightmares. But it is true. Isekai anime keep raking in money. Whether we look at the international or domestic audiences, people are always on that shit like it was the last requirement to be in a Mr. Beast video.
People love this shit.
And the goal of anime studios is ultimately money. It's a business regardless of passion.
What the fuck is this guy's drip? Bro is wearing my entire fucking net worth on his fucking body.
If it don't pay the bills, they ain't making it. So if people start complaining about too much yapping in anime, we're about to see a whole new age of mute anime.
Or, if people complain about the yapping in anime, maybe they'll take the feedback and they'll be like, shit, instead of giving him all these fucking details, let's make it concise and meet halfway so that we can continue to have these great isekais, not give all the fucking details, just enough for the anime onlys to understand and continue to satisfy everybody. But there's gonna be a few light novel readers that are gonna be fucking mad. That's pretty much Classroom of the Elite in a nutshell. I recognize that the Classroom of the Elite light novel is amazing. But as an anime only, and after reading about what got cut off, for sure I get upset that Koenji moments got fucked. But as an anime only, I think Classroom of the Elite does an amazing job, right, at enticing the anime only audience. I'm not talking about you fucking hardcore elite 0.001% of the code audience that think the light novel is the greatest shit ever, and I agree, it's fucking amazing. But I'm talking about the anime audience, these normies, and keeping them engaged. If Code was able to do the fucking job, then why can't Tensura? I think that Tensura can do the same shit. You meet fucking halfway in. Do we need to know all these fucking details? No. But if you keep saying that this shit, this yapping was necessary, right? If people keep saying and glazing that, oh, people can't afford to watch Tensura because there's a short attention span because they only enjoy Unga Bunga battle, that is such disingenuous like a take on Tensura Season 3. I've seen this shit. I am fucking sweaty as fuck. Analyzing, dissecting the anime. I give it the fucking attention it needs. And I can, after watching everything, say that Season 3 is a different experience to what Season 1 and Season 2 promised to the anime onlys. And it makes a lot of sense why people are upset by Season 3.
Too much yapping in anime. We're about to see a whole new age of mute anime.
Nah, I think that maybe they'll figure it out and they'll make the shit more concise and fast-paced and have both sides happy.
Straight hands, no story. Then again, in that case, we might be able to finally solve sub versus dub. The answer was always neither.
Just read.
Who would have thought? Somehow Isekai is about to get worse. It's completely understandable that people found this season more boring, but it really is a necessary step towards building the story. For people to
yeah, I get it, right? This is a setup. You're building up the story. I get it. But then you should also get why, you know, why Season 1 and Season 2 is going to be heralded as such a different experience that's so much better compared to Season 3 because of the material being, you know, adapted.
To call it bad is absurd, but at the end of the day, it's just some people, not everyone. In my opinion, this season wasn't terrible. It just left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, there was a lot left to be desired. Again, I agree with him about the Hinata fight, bro. That shit was like so abrupt. It ended so quick, man.
And I understand why people could say that it was boring. It definitely was more boring than it should have been. But these small things, regardless of how slow they may seem, always entertain me the most. If you think otherwise, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Have a nice day.
And again, I've never seen this guy's video. His name is Mizeri. Go like this video and check out his channel, guys, if you haven't seen it. I enjoyed his opinions about slime, and let's talk about that. I think that at the end of the day, entertainment is very subjective. To some people, this may be the greatest work possible. To other people, this is just utterly boring, dry trash. I think, again, I said this over and over again, the vast amount of people that saying Tensura fell off are simply upset because what they experienced in Season 1 and Season 2 is not the same as Season 3. And I understand that Season 3 is supposed to be kind of set up. It's not fair to compare Season 2 ending, which was the amalgamation of everything that happened since Season 1, right? So with that set aside, I could totally understand why people are upset by the unnecessary, just extended, just fucking Lord of the Rings extended edition worth of exposition. Like, do you really need all that shit to entertain the audience? No, you're doing the exact opposite thing. I keep going back to the Classroom the Elite example because I think it truly is the perfect example of an anime where so many people, especially light novel readers, are shitting on it, saying the anime is so fucking bad. Yet if you look at the anime numbers and the anime only's experience, they're saying this is the fucking one of the best anime possible. Because at the end of the day, an anime is not supposed to be a light novel or a manga. You're not supposed to give the same amount of fucking exposition because like then it's just like yap 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 blah 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 blah. An anime is supposed to keep the audience engaged. And if you fail to keep the monkeys engaged, then you failed as a series. And even if season 4 is gonna be so fucking good, what is the point if people have already dropped it and can't proceed beyond season 3? I think that people making complaints about anime like this is actually good. Because at the end of the day, the free market will decide what is actually good or not, right? People have different opinions. You can say one thing and other people have a different opinion, and whatever is the most popular mindset doesn't necessarily mean it's right, but at the very least, it keeps the people talking. And I think that the more people that criticize Tensura Season 3, Season Part 1, saying, you know, that this shit should have been so much more condensed, this shit was a snooze fest, I think that they have valid opinions. And by them voicing their opinions, I don't think that the anime industry is gonna make fucking mute animes. I think they're gonna actually maybe even listen to the numbers and say, shit, people are bored. Maybe we need to change something. Because if you just keep glazing, just like the fucking light novel readers, and say, oh, you guys just have a short attention span, you're all battle monkeys and you can't appreciate good art, shut the fuck up, retard. That is the most disingenuous thing that I've ever heard of. That is such intellectual dishonesty. You know it's boring. I know it's boring. We both love slime, but your superiority complex cannot fucking be removed to adequately look at season 3 for what it was and try to understand why the anime onlys are upset. But again, at the end of the day, those Tensura light novel fucking retards are just gatekeeping card content saying, oh, the light novel volume sales are so fucking good, so your opinions about the anime are trash. Shut the fuck up, basement dwelling fucking sweaty retard. Go. That's it for me.